Ancient yogis and Buddhist monks, for example, have always emphasized one single profound word: observation. To truly observe something, we must devote our undivided attention to it. This means that by directing the right kind of attention, we hold the power to manifest a desired quantum event within our own lives. That is precisely why, in this video, I will share how you can harness your attention to forge the exact reality you desire. Learning to master and direct your attention is the single most powerful action you can take as a conscious co-creator of your world. Let us begin right now. We must understand how our attention literally dictates the version of reality that ultimately manifests. But to grasp this profound truth, we first need to understand the fundamental flow of energy. Every time you feel stuck in life, like when you're working tirelessly toward a goal that simply refuses to materialize, or when the exact same situations keep repeating on an endless emotional roller coaster, or when you find yourself attracting the same toxic relationships, it is critical to recognize where your energy is stagnating. When energy cannot flow freely, which is its natural and required state, it becomes utterly stagnant. And when energy stagnates, we are forced to experience those exact same frustrating circumstances over and over again. So, what governs the flow of this energy? The answer is your attention. Wherever attention goes, energy flows. It is your focus and your attention that dictate the precise direction of energy's movement.
What the vast majority of people fail to realize is that the nature of our attention consists of two primary types: polar and non-polar attention. Polar attention possesses the immense power to either attract or repel reality. Any problem, when viewed from a different angle, instantly becomes a solution. They are simply two sides of the exact same coin. And this is exactly what polar attention does. It actively attracts one thing while simultaneously repelling another. Let us explore this concept a little deeper. In addition to polar attention, there is non-polar attention. This type is completely neutral, and it holds the unique power to literally dissolve and dismantle a given reality. Now, when it comes to manifesting quantum events within our lives, let us examine what this truly means in practice. Imagine for a moment that we wield two distinct forms of polar attention: positive attention and negative attention. When we focus positively on something, life itself does not care about the inherent nature of our attention. Life only responds to the content of that attention. As I have explained in the past, if we hold hatred for something, we will inevitably attract more events rooted in that hatred. Similarly, if we emanate deep love for something, we will effortlessly draw more of what we love into our experience. For us as human beings, this is the absolute crux of the matter. Throughout our entire lives, we have been profoundly conditioned to operate in a state of fear and survival, primarily because this response has become hardwired into our very biology. We are programmed to survive, first and foremost, above all else. And what is the most powerful instinctual method of survival? It is the immediate elimination and avoidance of any perceived threat to our existence. Because of this, we have become deeply conditioned to live perpetually in a protective mode, constantly avoiding conflict, constantly avoiding risk. So many of us have been molded by this exact pattern. And because of this relentless conditioning, we continue to experience more and more of the very things that cause us worry. Just think about what you see on the evening news or as you scroll through social media. Ask yourself why fear spreads so much faster and far more widely than anything else. This is exactly how outside influences are able to manipulate and control us.
There are countless proud individuals in this world, wholly willing to march into war to protect what they love and what fills them with pride. While this loyalty may seem admirable on the surface, these intense emotions frequently blind them to the deeper reality of what is truly taking place. It is incredibly easy to make someone carry out a desired action when their heart is filled with anger, and it is just as easy to force someone into compliance when they are paralyzed by fear. Therefore, fear, anger, and pride are the precise psychological states in which society keeps us trapped. They keep our attention locked onto triggers that force us to react in ways we would never consciously choose. For the vast majority, the painful cycle of experiencing the exact same type of toxic relationships over and over is all too familiar. This happens because they are unconsciously holding on to past traumas. Their attention is hyper-focused on avoiding the specific type of pain they suffered before. Ironically, because their focus is so intensely fixed on it, they continue to magnetically attract the identical type of relationship and partner. Most people are walking around traumatized by a past event, carrying the quiet terror that they have never processed it correctly. This is precisely where neutral or non-polar attention comes into play to save us, though we will dive much deeper into that shortly. For now, we simply need to anchor the understanding that there are two distinctly different types of attention, positive and negative. Life itself is entirely indifferent. It is only concerned with the explicit content of our attention, with whatever we are choosing to feed with our time and energy. Suppose we are living in a reality where we find ourselves standing at a critical crossroads. Let us say you are facing a severe challenge at work, perhaps involving a difficult coworker, an uncooperative employee, or a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. If you consciously choose to perceive this situation positively, the content of your attention shifts. You might think, somehow this situation is offering me a profound opportunity for growth. I will overcome this challenge, and I will emerge vastly stronger because of it. In this scenario, you are actively summoning the energy and the reality that perfectly reflects your resilient, positive mindset. Conversely, if you choose to look at the exact same situation through a lens of despair, the negative content of your negative attention becomes toxic. You might think, this is horrific. I cannot believe this is happening to me. It's going to be a disaster, and there is absolutely no way out. By doing so, you effortlessly attract the heavy, destructive energy that mirrors your defeated mentality. It is paramount that you understand this. Life simply does not care whether your attention is positive or negative. It merely responds, like a mirror, to the exact content of your focus. In other words, if you firmly believe that an event will help you grow, your timeline will literally shift toward a more elevated path, and more things that evoke positivity will begin to manifest around you. On the other hand, if you harbor dark feelings about a situation and label it as a catastrophe is precisely what will unfold. Pay very close attention to the mechanics of what is happening here. When we feel positive emotion, our mind instantly tags the surrounding content as positive. When we feel negative emotion, our mind aggressively frames the content as negative. But how do you actually know that a given situation is inherently bad? You do not. You are simply projecting an assumption because fear has taken hold of you. And the cruelest trick of fear is that it compels you to search for reasons to become even more terrified. As highly emotional beings, whenever we feel an intense emotion, we instinctively try to justify its presence. We begin frantically scanning our minds for all the terrible things that could validate and amplify that fear. But why do we torture ourselves like this? Because we are feeling beings, and feeling something, even panic, makes us feel alive. It activates our survival instinct. It is our primal biological default. When we are locked in a state of fear, we start mentally listing every single worst-case scenario that could possibly go wrong. This is the exact moment we fall into a downward spiral, because our intensely negative attention has now completely hijacked the content of our reality.
The fundamental, inescapable rule of the universe is that there must be coherence between the heart and the mind. When your heart beats with the rhythm of anxiety or dread, your mind immediately begins generating dark, chaotic thoughts to match it. These thoughts, fueled by emotion, then crystallize into manifestation. In a flash, you are shifted onto a dark timeline, a parallel track where cascading negative events become your absolute reality. However, there is a profound way out. This is where the magic of non-polar, neutral attention becomes your greatest savior. When we observe an event that has happened to us with pure non-polar neutrality, that event simply enters our life and quietly passes right through. It holds absolutely zero power over us. For instance, when confronted with a deeply unpleasant situation, you have the option to simply look at it and accept its presence. You attach no forced positivity to it, and you hurl no negativity against it. You simply continue walking your destined path. Because you offered no emotional resistance, the situation naturally dissolves, evaporates, and disappears back into the ether. Most people spend their lives fiercely resisting their past traumas and fears by flooding them with negative attention. Let us examine exactly how this psychological trap works. Whenever a painful memory surfaces, our immediate instinct is to run away from it. The feelings are overwhelming, visceral, and we lack the tools to properly navigate them. But when we run, we're actually putting up a wall of massive resistance.
And what is the golden rule of consciousness? What you resist persists. By fighting it, you are feeding it your life force. You give it immense strength, and it exerts an equal and terrifying opposing force right back onto you. We waste our entire lives violently battling the ghosts of our past, living every single day filtered through the suffocating lens of unresolved trauma. As a direct result, the universe graciously provides us with endless situations that validate and confirm that exact trauma. You must remember, there are always two sides to the coin. The choice of how you perceive your reality is, and always has been, 100% yours. Now that you grasp the mechanics of this universal law, let us discuss how to practically apply it to masterfully sculpt your reality. The absolute first step is learning to seamlessly combine both polar and non-polar attention. This integration is absolutely crucial, so I urge you to listen very closely. There are 3 profound steps to mastering this process. If you follow them with discipline, all the heavy, stagnant energy you currently waste on fear will dissipate. You will suddenly find yourself overflowing with the vitality needed to breathe life into the magnificent reality you truly wish to create. Let us explore exactly how this works. The first and vital step is total acceptance. When you find yourself in a situation so dark it feels like an abyss, when you are certain you have hit rock bottom, you must radically accept that this event has happened. The beautiful truth is that when we truly accept something, we instantly collapse our resistance to it.
It is physically and energetically impossible to be in a state of deep acceptance and a state of violent resistance at the exact same time. Acceptance is the ultimate antidote to resistance. Please allow this to sink in deeply. We are not trying to forcefully accumulate energy here. The only energy we need is just enough to redirect our focus, to simply get out of our own way. Your greatest goals, your highest timeline, they are already desperately trying to manifest for you. You are the only obstacle blocking their path. You just need to step aside so they can breathe into existence. We begin with the unflinching, total acceptance of your current reality. Whatever chaotic problems are swirling in your life right now, whatever trauma is making you feel paralyzed, or whatever your absolute worst nightmare looks like, imagine that it is already fully unfolded. You make complete peace with the fact that it is here. You look around and you realize that miraculously, life continues to move forward despite this tragedy. You are no longer frantically worrying about the nightmare because you are no longer being hunted by it. This mental shift is absolutely fundamental. The terrified ego always whispers, "But if I accept the worst-case scenario, won't I just attract it into my reality?" The answer is a resounding no, you will not. Quite the contrary, by bravely accepting the worst-case scenario, you instantly cut off its life supply. You stop feeding the beast with the frantic energy of your resistance. It is your ongoing resistance that acts as fuel, dramatically increasing the probability of your fears coming true. But if you bravely accept the fear and simply step out of the way, you activate pure, neutral attention. Acceptance is the embodiment of neutral attention. To create profound change in any human experience, we must anchor ourselves in acceptance. We require total, complete, integral acceptance of this exact fleeting moment in time.
You cannot alter the present moment, no matter how violently you thrash against it. The present is a flowing river. The second you try to grasp the water in your hands, it has already slipped away and become the unchangeable past. You cannot rewrite this exact second. What you can do, and where your true sovereign power lies, is in choosing what you will invite into the very next moment. We foolishly trick ourselves into believing that a specific setback happens. We are failures. We become rigidly attached to outcomes. We deeply intertwine our self-worth with the temporary things we do. To break this spell, stare your worst-case scenario directly in the face and accept it without flinching. By doing this, you strip away all its monumental, terrifying importance. The second step is to elevate your perspective and realize how this painful setback, this highly unfavorable event, could potentially be a profound blessing in disguise. Every single event that unfolds in the cosmos is inherently neutral. It is only our human perception, the unique nature of our attention, that hastily labels it as a tragedy, a triumph, or nothing at all. Instead of reflexively crying, "This is a catastrophe," pause. Ask yourself, how can this unexpected detour potentially serve as a strategic advantage? How might this exact pain be exactly what my life needed? What do I truly mean by a blessing in disguise? Sometimes our universe orchestrates chaos strictly to protect us. There may be a hidden poison in that path you desperately wanted, an unseen disaster that God or the infinite intelligence of the universe is violently pulling you away from.
There is always a divine architecture at play. Have you ever considered that this exact heartbreak is happening for a magnificent reason? If you had not missed that train, you might have been caught in a devastating accident. The universe closes doors simply because it is trying to shield your life.
But how can you possibly see this higher truth in the midst of pain? It becomes incredibly easy, but only after you have genuinely anchored yourself in the state of total acceptance. If your wound is raw, if the trauma has just violently shattered your reality, please do not force yourself to immediately search for the hidden silver lining. That is spiritual bypassing. Just breathe. Just reach the quiet point of acceptance and deeply acknowledge that yes, this heavy thing has truly happened. Only when the dust settles, when you finally return to a neutral emotional baseline, can you safely begin to dissect the event and search for the hidden seeds of your growth. The final masterful step is the relentless, unwavering redirection of your attention toward the exact reality you desire. Once I have stripped away all panic and entered a state of profound equanimity and acceptance, my precious attention is completely untethered. It is now completely free to choose my highest, most desired timeline. When you cultivate the discipline to master this internal pivot, you will become an unstoppable force of nature. Truly, nothing in this physical realm will be able to hinder your ascent. This specific mechanism is the sacred mechanism that dictates which timeline you merge with. It determines exactly which quantum event solidifies into physical matter. It is the architect of your entire living experience, and it is all governed by the razor-sharp blade of your attention.
There is a profound esoteric reason why every great ancient culture and spiritual tradition centers their teachings around the power of focus. They understood the divine alchemy of giving pure attention to an object, of simply being in a state of pure, detached observation. In this method, we are synthesizing these ancient truths into a modern formula. We deploy non-polar attention to enter absolute acceptance. We drop the labels of good or bad. We simply honor the raw fact that an event has occurred in time and space. Then, from that place of power, we hunt for the hidden blessings, the lessons wrapped in shadow, and we finally transition upward into a state of pure, positive creation. When executing this from a foundation of absolute equanimity, this process becomes the most formidable weapon in your metaphysical arsenal. As a divine co-creator of reality, your attention is your magic wand. When you finally learn to wield it with intention, you possess the capacity to manifest a life of unimaginable brilliance. Therefore, the fundamental message I want to imprint upon your soul today is this: if you are drowning in sorrow or feeling utterly defeated today, grant yourself the grace to accept that you are in pain. And only when you have weathered the storm and returned to a state of calm should you begin focusing your energy on the beautiful things you desire. Because if you attempt to violently suppress, bury, or run away from your authentic feelings, I assure you they will mutate in the darkness and return to haunt you with devastating force in the future. If you bypass the pain, anything you do becomes a toxic form of resistance. Even standing in front of a mirror, aggressively shouting positive affirmations can be a desperate, fearful attempt to avoid feeling your true pain. You are using the affirmation as a shield against your own soul. This is the silent tragedy unfolding for so many. But this three-step method, if practiced with relentless consistency, possesses the divine power to completely overhaul the trajectory of your entire existence.
When you truly learn the sacred art of accepting, redirecting, and intentionally choosing your desires, you unlock vast reservoirs of vital energy that were previously squandered in a useless war of resistance. You are finally using the laser focus of your attention to carve out the exact reality you have always craved. Always remember, acceptance is never a white flag of defeat. It is merely the courageous acknowledgement of the present reality. It is solely within this silent, spacious arena of acceptance that our vision clears and the majestic path leading to our ultimate destiny naturally unfolds before our very eyes. By embracing the terror of our worst-case scenarios, we shatter the chains holding our energy hostage. We pull back the life force that was bleeding out in battle, and in that powerful reclamation, our attention transforms into an unstoppable engine for profound change. We turn our gaze toward what we truly desire, and the very fabric of reality immediately begins to warp, bend, and reconfigure itself to match our new frequency. As conscious co-creators of this sprawling universe, we have been bestowed with the supreme gift of free will, the ability to select our timeline, mold our earthly experiences, and write the script of our ultimate destiny. True soul-shaking transformation begins the exact second you choose to direct your sacred attention solely toward the things that truly matter. Step forward with unshakable confidence and burning purpose, for you and only you are the master architect of your own destiny. Thank you for embarking on this profound journey with me today. If this message resonated deep within your soul, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Share this wisdom with others who may be wandering in the dark so they too can harness this power. And please leave a comment below. Share your thoughts, your personal reflections, and your spiritual experiences. Thank you again for your time, your focus, and your presence. Take care of your beautiful mind, and I will see you very soon.